Hi there, my name is Michael, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create some T4 information slips to give to your employees and then how to submit them to the Canada Revenue Agency. Now, this video is meant for viewers who already have some payroll data and want to find the best way to create and submit tax slips, so we won't go into too much detail on how to fill out a T4. I should mention that the methods I'll be discussing also apply to other common CRA forms such as the T3, T4A, T5, among many others, so if you intend to submit some form of tax slip to CRA, you'll hopefully take something away from this. Okay, let's get started. There are various ways of creating and submitting T4s, and I'll be talking about three of the most common methods. The best method for you typically depends on the volume of tax slips you're submitting. If you only need to file a few T4 slips, let's say a dozen, the simplest method is with CRA's Fillable PDFs. Let's Google T4 Fillable PDF, download this PDF from the CRA website, and enter your slip data one by one. I've included a link below to the T4 Fillable PDF. The Fillable PDFs also exist for other common slip types such as the T4A and T5. You'll need to give a copy of the T4 to your employee and submit another copy to the CRA by mail. According to the CRA Employee's Guide on Filing T4 Slips and Summary, which I've linked below, you'll want to send them alongside a T4 summary to the Jonquière Tax Center, which is based in Quebec. CRA discourages sending in a large number of tax slips by mail. According to their guide, the maximum number of tax slips you can file without incurring a penalty is 50 slips, so keep that in mind. The second way to submit tax slips to the CRA is through their online web forms. You'll need a computer with an internet connection. Web Forms allows you to submit up to 100 tax slips. I provided another link for Web Forms below. To get started with Web Forms, you'll need your business number and a web access code. You can apply for the web access code on the login page if you don't have one already. Once you've logged in, select the type of information return you're filing and a return type and start entering the slips one by one. At the end of the process, a summary is generated and you'll be able to print your slips for your employees. Make sure to record the confirmation number as a proof of submission at the end of the process. For filing larger numbers of tax slips, the last method I want to show you is internet file transfer. There's no limit to the amount of tax slips you can submit with this method, but you will need tax preparation software to create a file in the required XML format. There are several advantages to using tax preparation software, especially for larger tax submissions. Instead of having to manually import your slips one at a time, certain tax preparation software will allow you to import your data from a spreadsheet or an XML file which can be generated by a payroll program such as QuickBooks. These programs frequently provide ways of validating and error-checking the data or calculate adjustments for figures such as CBP and EI. Today, I'll show you one such program called AvanTax eForms. I'll be going through the process from start to finish. I'll be importing some T4 data from a spreadsheet, correcting errors, creating printable T4s for employees, and generating the XML file to submit to CRA online. The free edition of AvanTax eForms can be downloaded from the website free of charge and requires only an email sign-up to get your authorization key. The free edition can do 10 slips each for CRA's T4, T4A, and T5, as well as Revenue Quebec's Relevate 1 and Relevate 3. You can also access an online demo of eForms by clicking on the online demo link which I've provided below. There's no installation or setup necessary for this demo, so feel free to follow along with the video or play around with the software. Okay, let's get down to it. Let's first start off by showing you how easy it is to create and view a PDF of your slip data. If you're running the online demo, there should already be a database preloaded with a company and some slip data filled out. I'm preparing T4s for a company called Arthur's Accounting. To get into the slips, I go into Forms, CRA Forms, T4, and T4 Slips. Here we see that the first T4 is for a Mr. John Smith, and let's make a change to the address. To create the PDFs, we go to the printer icon and select 2 slips per page. I just want to create a PDF for Mr. John Smith, and so we hit the Preview/Print button. And that's it. You'll notice that the change in the address we made is reflected in the PDF. You can go through the same steps at any point during the video to view your PDFs as you prepare them. The premium version of AvanTax eForms includes an import feature so that you can avoid manually re-entering your slip data one by one. Let's check out the Excel import template by going over to the Open Import Template button. Let's head down to the T4 template. You'll see that the columns of the template correspond to the fields on the actual T4. You'll likely have to do some rearranging of your data to fit it to the template. Okay, so I've got some payroll data fitted to the template and ready to go. To start the import, we go over to the Import button beside the Excel. We browse to our desktop, which contains our test payroll. And we select the type of slip that we want, which is the T4. We import them into the current company, which is Arthur's Accounting, and we hit the Import button. According to this message, we're importing 150 T4 slips to Arthur's Accounting. That's correct, so we hit Yes. Let's check out these slips we just imported by going to Forms, CRA Forms, T4, and T4 slips. And now you'll notice that instead of having 2 slips, we have 152 slips, showing that the import has succeeded. By the way, the spreadsheet I'm using for this import should also be included in the online demo for you to experiment with. eForms can also import from other types of files, such as XMLs, which can be generated from payroll software such as QuickBooks in a very similar fashion. Now that we've got these slips imported into the software, I want to find a particular slip for a Jane Doe. Now, instead of having to manually browse through these slips one at a time, I can search for her slip using a variety of different fields, such as the data entry sequence, the name, the employee number, or the SIN number. Let's search for her slip using her name. Let's type in Jane, and there we go. One useful feature of this particular program is the adjustment calculations for CPP, QPP, and EI. After you file your T4s, CRA checks the calculations with a process known as a peer or pensionable and insurable earnings review to make sure that the figures you report correspond to the rates published by the CRA and Revenue Quebec for the current tax year. The adjustment feature within the AvanTax program will verify these values and point out any discrepancies with the option to adjust them to be correct. You can see that there is currently a CPP overpayment and an EI underpayment for this particular slip. You'll notice that any adjustment made to either the CPP or EI are offset with the recipient tax so that the T4 slip remains in balance. Adjustments can be applied to a company-wide level by going up to Company, Adjust/Unadjust T4 slips, and clicking on the Adjust Slips button. Let's take a look at the adjustments we just did by going into Preview/Print, and this generates a report of all of the adjustments we made to the CPP and EI for all of the various slips. Now that we're almost ready to electronically file, let's check out the T4 summary, which is automatically generated to make sure that our numbers are in order. To do this, we go up into Forms, CRA Forms, T4, and T4 Summary. You can see that this is a summary of our 152 slips. Okay, these numbers look correct, so let's move on to electronically filing. To start the electronic filing process, we go up into Electronic Filing, Canada Revenue Agency. In Step 1, we select the company to file for, so Arthur's Accounting. In Step 2, we select the Return to File, so T4s. In Step 3, we fill out the transmitter setup. This information identifies you to the Canada Revenue Agency. In Step 4, we select the method of submission, the Internet, and the status of these slips, which is Originals. eForms can also do amended and cancelled slips at a later date. Now that we have our settings the way we want them, let's click on the green XML File and Validation Report button to generate the XML. And hang on, there appears to be a problem. Let's get to the problematic slip by clicking on the Edit Slip button. And I think I see what the issue is. Let me make a few corrections. And let's try the electronic filing one more time. And success! You'll notice that the program will verify the validity of certain fields before generating the XML file. Let's hit the green Next button to proceed. This is our first XML submission, so let's leave the XML submission number at 1. Now we arrive at the final step in the submission process. According to the program, this is the name of our XML file, and this is the file location on our computer. Let's go to the CRA Internet File Transfer page and proceed to log in. Read their terms and conditions, and you'll need your account number and web access code, just like with web forms. Once you've logged in, browse to the XML file that was generated by the software, certify that the attached return is complete and accurate, and hit the Submit button. You'll get a confirmation number after a successful submission. And we're done! Okay, we've covered 3 major ways to submit your tax slips to the CRA. I hope you took something away from this tutorial. Please like the video if you'd like to see more content. I'd love to do more guides on common slip types if there's interest for it. I hope everyone has a stress-free tax season. See you around!